Well, hello there, people in the internet, and hello again. I'm TheMBmulti. Welcome to part 18 of Doki Doki Blue Skies. In the previous episode, oh man, previous episode was heavy. We finally discovered what we kind of already knew, that Yuri harms herself and that her parents are dead. Both of which I already knew. Well, of course, the self-harm part, I knew that from the original game, so I obviously knew that was gonna come back in some way. And the fact that her parents were dead, I picked up on it a lot earlier than the guy in the game, at least. So there's that. Yeah, we spent the day together, talked about it a whole bunch, and yeah, it's just a heavy episode. A lot of heavy stuff. And but that kind of distracts me from the fact that I wanted to really fix some things with Sayori, but we've got some more important things on our minds now. It's Monday. God, I've never hated a Monday more than today. How am I supposed to focus on classwork after everything that happened last weekend? Why can't I just stay home with Yuri all day? I just want to cuddle under covers with her and talk until I can truly understand her. Well, technically I could do that, but Yuri definitely wouldn't spring for it. Knowing her, she'd balk at the thought of missing school. Despite having all these problems, she even bullies to deal with. Actually, that's kind of strange, how she never misses school. Even if she's a total bookworm, she got to feel at least some reluctance, right? Especially on bad days or days when the bullies come after her. Fortunately, the bullies only target her when she's alone, and between the club and I, Yuri is not alone often anymore. But even if the bullies are taken out of the equation, it can't be easy going to school sometimes. If my unwillingness can be that strong on exam days, how must she feel on certain days? She said that she cuts when she's feeling overwhelmed. Don't tell me she at school. Damn it, Mark, stop thinking of these things. Stop doubting Yuri. But aren't I right worrying about Yuri like that? Is this doubt well placed? Maybe doubt is the wrong word. After all, I'm just genuinely worried about both her mental and physical health. How can I not after seeing her arm like that? And I don't even know if she's cut anywhere else on her body either. He's got to have done that, right? There's only so much you can cut on a single arm. Burying my face in my hands, I sigh. Yeah, why do I suddenly feel so guilty about thinking these things? I don't want to change how I see Yuri, but at the same time, I just can't help it. Do I just ignore it and try to treat her normally? But I still have to be careful of triggering an episode. At the same time, I don't want to expect she cuts 24/7. She doesn't do that, does she? I don't even know how often she harms herself. Obviously, she can't do it when she's talking to someone, but when she's alone? Well, she only said she does it when her feelings come to a head. A freak. She called herself a freak. I have to wonder, did she start calling herself that on her own? On her own accord, or did she internalize others' words? Sleeping again, Mark? Not this time, I swear. See to it that I don't catch you sleeping anymore, young man. Young man, says you. You got it. You're younger. You look younger than Natsuki. I did notice you were zoned out the whole day, though. Anything up with you? No, not really. Just been thinking about stuff. By the way, what would you define a freak as? Yeah? Why are you asking that all of a sudden? Just answer the question. Just answer the motherfucking question, Sayori. I guess a freak would be a person who's abnormal. Huh? That's it? But can't you say that I'm a freak then, if, for instance, I watch anime more than the average person? Well, no, a freak would be abnormal in a grotesque kind of way. That is, if you were to call someone a freak in a mean-spirited manner. There are loads of different definitions you could use, so you kind of need the context for it. Why, is someone bullying you? Sayori's tone suddenly sharpens into a more serious tone. Ah, no, but thanks for the concern. She immediately relaxes at that. That's why we elected her as representative. She genuinely cares about the class. I'm just wondering. If you ever need to think out loud, I'll be here. That's my duty as class rep. No, as your friend. Hey, thanks. If you're in the same class next term, I'll be sure to vote for you again. Thanks. Are you heading to the literature club after this? Yep. What are you doing after school? I'm in the Kendo club. Dang. If I knew you were part of a band club... I knew you were part of a band club, but I didn't know you also did kendo, whatever it may be. Yeah, maybe sure, but I'm pretty good at it, if I say so myself. I'm trying to climb up the ranks in the club. With any luck, I'll be captain of the team by the time I'm a third year. It'd be a dream to become the ultimate swordswoman. Oh, is it like fencing? Given how passionate you are about it, I'm sure you will. The bell rings, interrupting our conversation. Speaking of which, I got to go. See you, Mark. Have fun. My thoughts turn towards Yuri again as I leave the classroom. Hopefully it's not too much for her if I continue talking to her about everything. It should be a release for her, right? Or at least I hope so. Hi Yuri. Mark, Yuri's waiting for me at the usual spot. Hey, wanna get going? Of course. We walk in silence for a bit, but it's like Yuri's secret is weighing down heavily on us. Or on me, at least. I don't know if the events of the weekend are on her mind as well. Maybe I'm just the one who's making things weird. Snap out of it, Mark. Let's just lighten the mood a bit. You looking forward to the literature club? As much as I would any other day, I suppose. Why, is there something special happening today? No, it's just that it feels so normal to be going to the club. Like after what happened on the weekend. God damn it, Mark! You can't just help returning to this topic, huh? No, it felt like things would change. But here we are, doing the same things as usual. Not that doing the same thing is bad, though. Sorry for constantly talking about this stuff. No, it's fine. It's only natural that you'd want to know more about everything. However, not all change is necessarily bad. For instance, it's been freeing to be able to share these feelings with someone. Yuri brushes her hands against mine, causing me to grab hold of it. Yeah, I'm definitely glad that change happens. We arrive at the club room and step inside. For once, it seems like Yuri and I are the last ones in the club. What do you mean for once? We're pretty much every single time we've entered the literature club, we were the last ones in. Hi, Monika. Well, it looks like the lovebirds are late. Had a secret traced on your way over here? A blush spreads across Yuri's face. It makes even me feel embarrassed. No, besides, we're not even late. Thou doth protest too much, methinks. Save it, Shakespeare. That is from Shakespeare, actually. Hamlet, to be specific. Trusting Yuri to know every single literary reference there is. Don't tell me we're going to start a unit on Shakespeare in the club now. Don't worry, I wouldn't inflict that on you guys. No, not right now at least. I can't tell if she's being serious or not. Anyway, now that everyone's here, we can start our meeting. Natsuki and Sayori pop off. Shouldn't that be off with 2 Fs? Oh no, pop out of the closet. No, that's fine. Pop out of the closet to join the conversation. I guess Sayori was helping reorganize Natsuki's manga or something. Mark, Yuri, you're finally here. Finally, what's that supposed to mean? Obviously, it means you two are slowpokes. How many times am I gonna have to say we weren't late? All in good fun, Mark. So what did everyone do over the weekend? The weekend, it's kind of surreal that people were going about their days normally, while Yuri and I were talking about such dark subject matters. Homework and manga for me. That sounds about right. I had to do some part-time work too. Oh, what kind of work is it? I bet it was something cute, like a waitress job at a maid cafe. What? Who do you think I am? I was, this and that. Sayori, what did you do? I guess she doesn't want to talk about it given her sudden change in subject. Maybe she really is working at a maid cafe. I caught up on sleep. Sayori, you sleep in every day. There's no way you need to catch up on sleep. Meanie? You can never have too much sleep. No, I can definitely relate to that. I never have enough sleep myself. Oh, that's okay. Well, thank you for very casually dropping that on us, Monika. She sighs, a wry smile on her face. Not only do I have cram school and tennis practice every day, but I also have to deal with the class rep and club duties. Jeez, humble brag much? Don't blame her. Come on. It's just Monika. Don't you ever have any time for yourself? Free time, to be honest, I'm busy so often that it's kind of foreign concept to me. That's what I get for signing up to do so many other things. It can be truly surprising what a single person is capable of. Oh, that's just an exaggeration. There are lots of downsides to this kind of lifestyle. Monika's face visibly falls. It does sound kind of hellish to not have your time for yourself. Does she even hang out with friends outside of school? Enough about me. What did you do, Yuri? Yuri gives me a pleading glance. Yuri and I hung out over the weekends. We talked a lot about stuff. Wow, what a lovey-dovey couple you are. Thanks for saving the PDA. I don't know what it means. Thanks for saving the PDA for the weekends. Haha. Natsuki. What? Natsuki pantomimes barfing, causing Sayori to giggle. When you guys start dating, I'm going to return all this teasing tenfold. Isn't that right, Yuri? I suppose so. Well, it looks like we all have extremely exciting lives, huh? Well, tell me about it, Monika. We're really living on the edge, alright? How about we keep up the excitement and share our poetry now? Crap, I totally forgot to write a poem. Hold on, I kind of have to talk to Yuri first, privately. Yuri shoots me a curious look. Alright, we can just... It might be a long conversation, so you guys go ahead and share poetry first. Is everyone else okay with that? Yuri? Everyone nods in affirmation. Okay then, don't take too long. You bet I'm gonna take as long as possible. Alright, come on Yuri, let's step outside for a bit. So what was it you wanted to talk to me about? Oh well, to be honest, I needed a distraction because I forgot to write a poem. Mark, sorry, wait, don't go back in! Yuri sighs, then smiles patronizingly. Thanks for putting up with me, and now that I think about it, there is something I wanted to talk to you about anyway. I actually thought of it during our conversation back inside, but... Yuri, are you going to tell the others about your self-harm? No! She merely panics at my question. I didn't mean right now. Sorry, I meant eventually. Like, when we're comfortable, of course. I see. Sorry, Mark, but I don't know if I'd be able to tell them, even in the future. Why not? Wouldn't you want your friends to know what's going on in your life? They could provide as much support as I do, only multiplied by 4. No? Yuri looks down at the ground, not meeting my eyes. I can't. I wouldn't be able to stand it if they started treating me differently. Can't things just stay the same, please? Yuri, you even said it yourself, sometimes change is necessary. I didn't say that, I said that change isn't necessarily bad. But in this case, it's neither necessary nor positive. All it will do is change how others see me. But how can you, well, get better without people supporting you and standing by your side? Look, Mark, even you see me differently now. Don't try to argue otherwise, it's only to be expected. I know you're trying your best. Yuri, please, just let this matter go. Alright, if you're not comfortable talking about it, I won't force you to. Thank you. Now, if you will excuse me, she slides open the door and slips through. I can't help but feel like this is a conversation we'll return to. I am 100% certain that this is a conversation that we'll return to later. At least she knows where I stand on the subject. Of course, it's difficult for me to understand her point of view sometimes, but I really do think she should confide in others too, not just me. For now though, I have to figure out an excuse for forgetting my poem. Oh, we're not gonna see how I massively figure out an excuse and don't share my poem. Yuri ate my poem, okay? That's what happened. It's crazy to think about how fast time is flying by. It seemed like only yesterday I found out about Yuri's self-harming tendencies. As I'm absent-mindedly thumbing through my phone, I'm once again reminded that February has already started. The past few weeks felt like they hadn't even happened at all. Well, I guess that's not strictly true. I mean, yeah, in many ways, life remained the same. We're still a couple, school hasn't changed much, we still go to the literature club. But despite the apparent normality, things feel different, for obvious reasons, I guess. A pang of anxiety shoots through me. I don't think I'll ever get that scene out of my head when I first saw her, razor in hand, blood on the floor. Even after a few weeks, the image is still burned into my mind. The other girls are still oblivious, and Yuri's stance on whether or not she should tell them hasn't changed at all. I sigh and rarely rub my hands through my hair. What am I meant to do? Perhaps I should. One day my phone will stop interrupting me when I'm deep in thought. Oh. Hi Mom. Hi Mark. It's been so long. It's been so long since last I sing this song. Oh no? What? I can't remember. It's that Five Nights at Freddy's song that I was trying to sing. I haven't heard it in a while. It's been so long. And I'm forced to sing this song or whatever? I don't remember. Since last I sing this song. The sanity of your mother. Yeah, I haven't heard that song in a while. It really has, hasn't it? When's the last time we talked? My goodness, I think it was before Halloween. That means it's been around 3 months. What the fuck? Why the hell wouldn't we even call if Happy New Year, Merry Christmas or whatever? What the fuck? That's very weird. It's not only weird on my part, it's also weird on your part. It's weird on both our parts. Anyway, what's new? Oh, actually, what about Yuri? Are you guys together yet? Ha, well, I can practically hear the anticipation through the phone screen. Yeah, we are. I had a feeling you'd tell me that. Look at you, my little prince, all grown up. Mom, really? Little prince? Ah, sorry. It's just that from a mother's perspective. Oh, your son's first girlfriend's big news. Ah, I can't wait to meet her. You only get to meet her if you promise not to embarrass me when she's over. I can't make any promises. I roll my eyes. I can practically see the smug smirk on her face, even though we're hundreds of miles apart. Anyway, oh yeah, December exam results. Oh yes, I hope you've studied hard and you got the grades you need, young man. Don't worry, I did fine. Sakura gave me my results last week and he was pretty impressed. To be honest, I was pretty surprised myself. Overall, I did well. But I really aced Japanese history and English. That's excellent to hear, sweetheart. Well done. A small laugh filters through the phone speaker. No, what's so funny? I just remember you saying that Yuri is a huge fan of literature and she's constantly reading books, right? Yeah? Well, I'm assuming you guys discussed these books. Well, then it's clear that she's rubbing off on you. It seems like she's really helped you with appreciate literature, making you more analytical and thoughtful yourself. Clearly it's showing in your grades. Really? I never even thought about that. Does it happen in every relationship? Hard to say, really. It's definitely common, though. You spend so much time with your partner that you subconsciously start copying their mannerisms and tendencies. And that may be useful, especially now. Why? Tut tut, it's Valentine's Day coming up soon. The personality is rubbing off on you. You may want to find it easier to think of something special for her. Or if her personality is rubbing off on you, you may find it easier to think of something special for her. Ah, I totally forgotten about Valentine's. On the year that you get a girlfriend, you forget about such a romantic day? When you put it like that, it does seem a little illogical. Well, it's not for a week, so you've still got time. Don't dwaddle, dwaddle. Yeah, don't dwaddle, sweetheart. You'd be amazed how quickly that week will zip by. Okay. I get it. I'll think of something. Anyway, what have you been up to? Given it's been a while since you called, I imagine work must be really busy. There's a sigh on the other end. Yes, you're right. Clients have been so demanding over the past few weeks. New projects, new technologies, new strategies. I'll be so glad when this business quarter is over. New technologies and strategies? What do you mean? Well, I won't bore you with all the finer details. Basically, our company has rolled out this new app. We're supposed to use it when we're talking to our clients, and it's meant to boost communication efficiency. The only problem is, it's not exactly intuitive. Rather the opposite. There's not been much company training on how to use it. So we've basically had to do our own research on how it works. It's tedious, but better that than not knowing what to do, I suppose. Anyway, unfortunately, I have to go, sweetheart. It was lovely to get... That was the fucking brief... Like, not even Happy New Year, Merry Christmas. Apparently we don't talk for months and it's fine. What the fuck? And I promise it won't be so long until we next talk, okay? It's fine, you've been really busy, don't worry about it. I'll see what I can do. About what? Oh, nothing. Forget I said anything. Yeah, love you too. As I put my phone back in my pocket, my mother's words continue to swirl around my head. We had to do our own research on how it works. Maybe... Of course, the answer was right there. Why didn't I research self-harm on the internet before? Man, I can be really dumb sometimes. Actually, to be quite honest, that didn't really cross my mind either, until now. Either way, it's probably best that I research this with Yuri. After all, it concerns her, right? Phone in hand, I flick through my meager contact list and click on her name. Wow, she answered the phone really quickly. Oh, Mark, what are you up to? Not much. Hey, do you mind if I come over? You want to come over to my house? Yeah, is that alright? Yes, I suppose so. I'll see you soon then. Click. Yeah, so it's my first time going to Yuri's house, huh? Strange to think that this is the first time it's happening, even though we've known each other for months. Okay, and all of a sudden I've teleported into her bedroom. After exchanging a kiss, I take a seat on the bed, right next to Yuri. She's blushing slightly. You know, your bedroom looks exactly like how I imagined it would. What do you mean? It looks really elegant and tidy. Much like you. And of course, only you would have a huge bookshelf right next to your bed. How many times have you tried to reach over the bookshelf while you were snugged under those sheets? She smiles bashfully. It never stops being heartwarming. Maybe a few times. By the way, Mark, would you like to see my Get your mind out of the gutter, Mark. Your what? I'm painfully aware of the suggestive tone the conversation has suddenly adopted. Judging by the furious blushing on Yuri's face, it's safe to say that I'm not the only one. Though you probably think it's really weird. Wait, are we thinking of different things? She reaches down towards the desk and pulls out a medium-sized black box. Well, you remember how I said I had a knife collection? A wave of understanding washes over me. I have to fight the urge to laugh at myself. My god, the situation could have been made a million times more awkward. Oh, you want to show me your knives? You're not weirded out by it? Nah, at one point I was tempted to get you a knife for Christmas, but I figured you already had a few. Besides, I don't know what types of knives you really like. I'm kinda curious, to be honest. I never met someone who collects them. So yeah, go ahead. Apprehension is still visible on her face, but after swallowing nervously, she gently opens the lid. Whoa, you weren't kidding when you said you had a collection, were you? Oh, you weren't kidding when you said you had a collection, were you? Sorry, I know it must be really weird. I don't know why I even suggested it. She moves to snap the lid shut, but I reach out and gently grasp her hands. Surprise flickers across her features as she looks at me. If I look closely, I can detect shame in her eyes. It's not weird at all. I accepted who you are a long time ago, Yuri. Please don't feel ashamed. Plus, I really want to see these knives of yours. Really? I smile reassuringly at her. Yes. if you're sure. She gingerly reopens the box and pulls out a small knife. Is this one a dagger? It looks it looks too small to be a knife. It is indeed. I don't even know what the difference is. This one actually comes from the 18th century, and if I recall, it's also from Spain. Spanish, huh? Slowly take the dagger from Yuri and hold it in my hands. The hilt is silver. The blade comes with a golden sheath. Carefully, I unsheath it. This one isn't particularly sharp, but I would still recommend exercising caution. I turn it over in my hands. It's not exactly a large weapon, but the craftsmanship is undeniable. During the Renaissance age, a dagger such as this one was actually used as part of everyday dress. In fact, daggers were the only weapons that commoners, there we go, well, the only weapons that commoners were permitted to carry. The dagger was very popular in Spain. It was referred to as a daga or a punal. Oh, it's called a pugio in Latin, so the second one kind of looks like that. I sheathe the knife and hand it back to Yuri, who puts it back into the box. You really know your stuff, huh? It's really admirable how intelligent you are. Books, science, knives. Is there a limit to your knowledge? She blushes and adverts her eyes into the box. You're too kind. My eyes are drawn to a rather large curved knife that sits in the middle of the box. Whoa, this one is a really cool shape. As you move away from the base of the blade, it curves to the sides, to points where the head is at a very different angle. Ah, this one has a fascinating history. Her face is lit up, and passion flares behind her eyes. It's a type of fervor I see only when she's talking about her books. It's actually called the kukri, and it's an icon of Nepal. Nepal, I don't know. Do you see how the head of the blade is at an angle? This gives the kukri immense chopping power. You see, it isn't a knife designed to stab or slice, although you can of course still do that. The head and weight of the blade means it's very effective at cutting through flesh. In fact, it's even able to cleanly chop limbs off. That sounds a lot like a gladius. It sounds a lot like a Roman gladius, Yuri, because a gladius is also. I have a gladius myself. It's in the other room, but a gladius is also, it's designed for kind of the opposite as what Yuri's describing here. A gladius is designed for stabbing, but because of the weight and length, you can also use it to chop, and you can actually chop limbs clean off as well if you use it that way. But the gladius is of course a short sword, which means it's used for stabbing. It's used to particularly get. It used to be handled very well, so that you can get around your opponents very easily. You can very easily maneuver the sword in a direction that you want it to and manipulate the trajectory towards the enemy and stab him in places where he's not expecting or where the armor is weak, for example, like around the neck area most of the time, or in the sides, or under the armpits is also usually a weak spot. And because of the easy maneuverability of the swords, you can easily dart your sword in directions to hit, very importantly, hit vital spots of your opponent. Which is also one of the first things that Roman legionnaires learned when they were training to become legionnaires. They the very first thing that Roman soldiers learned was marching in order and marching in pace. But one of the next few things they would learn was stabbing. And then the Romans had a training where they would have a wooden post, this thick roughly, and then they would stab it constantly. They would stand at a distance and they would constantly stab it with a wooden sword to practice. And then they would narrow that post ever more. They would be narrower until it was ridiculously narrow, and then they still continuously had to stab it, and every single stab had to hit. And then you learn how to extremely precisely manipulate your movements with your sword. And then because you make the pose so narrow, you need to make sure that every single step, every single motion counts, you know? And then would use like step in the middle twice, then step upwards, step below, and then slice twice on the sides. And then they would do that over and over and over again. And they would narrow the pole each time so that you have to focus more and that you have to like practice your aiming more. And then eventually you would be like super skillful at aiming where your sword goes. And then, of course, the whole point of that is that in the battlefield, every time you swing your sword, or like stab your sword forward, and you hit your enemy but miss, or, you know, like don't hit him at all, you're in danger because you're in a attacking stance. So you need to get back to a defensive stance. So, of course, you kind of need to make sure that every single hit is actually a hit. Every single attempt is a hit, and that every single attempt is a kill. Because, of course, that increases efficiency and reduces the risk of you dying yourself. But yeah, I'm sorry, I got off topic. I think I know a few fictional serial killers who would love to use a weapon like this one. But what's with the little notch above the handle? Essentially, it's to stop blood from dripping onto the user's hands. That would make the handle slippery and impractical. Yeah. That's very true. There's a lot of knives and swords that have that same thing. Again, coming back to the Roman gladius, the handle of a gladius is usually made out of bone or wood, or for luxury versions, ivory. And there are ridges carved into it so that it has extra grip, so that when your hand does eventually get covered in blood, because like the way you slice and dice whatever with your sword, it's bound to happen eventually. Because of the ridges in the handle, like even when it's raining or when it's soaked in blood, there's still a very low chance of you actually the sword slipping out of your hands when you're hacking and stuff. Because, you know, even though you can't really hold the sword like normally because of the wetness of the rain or the blood, the ridges still keep the sword in hand, just because, you know, the ridges, they get stuck between the fingers, in a sense. And not only with Roman gladii, there's also a whole bunch of other swords and knives had to deal with this issue of, because of course that would be very fun. It would be embarrassing, but also extremely impractical when you're swinging your sword around like this, and then you swing it backwards, and then whoosh, and then all of a sudden you don't have a sword anymore. Like, that's very difficult in war. So of course you would like to prevent that. Man, I had no idea that so much thought went into the design of these things. Oh, I did, as you heard me explain just now. To me, knives are just simple cutting tools with a straight edge. Guess it goes to show how much I know. I don't blame you for thinking like that. An interest in knives is hardly the norm, so it's a given that you wouldn't give them that much thought. She holds the kukri up and slowly turns it around in her hands. From her expression, it's clear that she's admiring the blade. I'll admit that it's a little unusual. After all, if someone told me that one day I'd be looking at my girlfriend admiring a dangerous weapon, I wouldn't believe them. But being with Yuri, it's opened my eyes. It's helped me see that people have a variety of interests. In a way, it's refreshing to see such uniqueness in a person. What's it about knives that you like so much? I remember you talked about it a long time ago, but I can't remember what it is you said. There are many reasons, some of which make more sense than others, I suppose. Let's start with a simple reason, the craftsmanship. An untold number of hours go into crafting the knives you see as you see them. The weight, the feel, the sharpness, the length, the design, the color. There's also the rather dark association that knives have. Mark, am I wrong in thinking that there's something inherently fascinating with the macabre? I guess that's how you pronounce it. We're taught to fear darkness. Yes! Fear me, Kasuba! But there's something so intriguing about it. You know, if I think about it, I can see what you mean. I think I can see what you mean. Like, if we take Halloween, for example, it's pretty much a festival dedicated to the dead, right? Yeah, it's pretty commercialized, but I've always enjoyed it. Telling ghost stories, scaring each other, seeing all of the gruesome costumes people wear. Yuri nods in earnest. Fear is such an enigma. Different people fear different things. Some people love horror movies, yet others balk at the very thought. And when it comes to knives, well, you only need to look at the world around you to see what kind of reputation they have. And knives never judge you. Have you ever used these knives to cut yourself? I immediately berate myself for asking such a question like that. Yeah, exactly. It sounds way less insensitive in my head. It sounded way less insensitive than my head. I'm surprised you even had to ask that. You have so many, and a lot of these knives look, well, they're really big and they look really sharp. Yuri stays silent. I'm just worried about you, that's all. More silence. It's growing more uncomfortable by the second. I know you are, Mark. And it means a lot to me that you care. I was so afraid that you'd break up with me once you saw my scars. Breaking up with you? No, of course not. If anything, it's made me want to be with you more. Why? Well, I want to see you get... No, not that. The reason why you would want to be with them more is, of course, that. Partially, maybe mostly, but you don't say that. At least, well, it's not really what she needs to hear, because then kind of like feels like, oh, it makes you get better, and then I fuck off. No. Also, the biggest reason why you want to still stay with her after this is because she trusts you to such a regard that you're the first person that she tells this to. You know, like she for some reason feels so at ease with you that she is able to tell something that she has never told anyone ever before. And that would make me feel ridiculously special. And that's why I would still stay with someone like that after that. And I actually wanted to do some research on self-harm with you and look at some therapy options, but that won't be necessary. The finality in Yuri's voice stopped me dead. I've only heard such assertion in her voice maybe once? Why not? Because I don't want to go to therapy. Did you want to stop cussing? Self-harming is the only way I've ever known how to deal with my issues. It's the only way I've been able to express myself. But we both know it's not a healthy way to deal with your feelings, Yuri. What if you cut too deeply? Or, I don't know, cut a vein or something? I won't. I know which places are safe to cut and which specific areas are to avoid. It doesn't make me feel much better, you know? I'm sorry, she sighs deeply. To be honest, I knew that you'd eventually ask me to try therapy. Now it's probably hard for you to see it like this, but but for me, it's really not that simple. Then help me understand, please. If I must. Although I warn you, you're not going to understand at all. Anyway, she reaches into the box and takes out a silver knife. As she speaks, she rolls it between her fingers, taking utmost care not to accidentally cut herself. That's a first. Like I said, self-harming has been the only way I've ever been able to deal with my feelings. And yes, I know it is maladaptive, but you have to understand that for me, it's like a routine. It may not be a good approach, but it is the only approach I have. And what is the whole point of therapy? To get me stop self-harming? In other words, losing the only way I've ever known to control myself? I simply couldn't imagine another way of dealing with things. Plus the thought of opening up to a complete stranger about my innermost insecurities is simply unimaginable. I hid it from my parents, I hid it from you. The only reason you knew about my habits was simply through chance. There's an awful lot of vulnerability and blind trust to put into a random stranger, don't you think? As much as I hate to admit it, yeah, I can definitely see what she means. It's easy for me to stand here and ask her to see a therapist, but it's a whole different story for her. If it's any consolation, Mark, I don't exactly cut frequently. Yeah, thank that you... I'm glad you already mentioned I don't know if it's a consolation, because it doesn't really help that much, but, you know. I won't deny that it still happens, but ever since we started dating it happens a little less. Really? Yes. Having someone to talk to, someone who's open-minded, who's willing to listen to me ramble on about literature or look at knives with me, it does make a difference. She slowly inches her face closer to mine. It's amazing how much of a difference just one person can make. So thank you. She tentatively reaches her arms out for a hug. I comply instantly and pull her close. Her head rests against my chest. Yuri, look, I get it. I know you don't want to see a therapist. But can you at least promise me that you'll think about it? For my sake, or for yours. She looks up at me. Mark, please, I'm serious. I know you don't want to, but this isn't something I can ignore. Okay, I promise that I'll at least consider it. But please don't get your hopes up, okay? Alright, that's all I can ask for now. She nods slowly. By the way, I've been meaning to ask you, would you like to read the first ghost story I ever read with me? You've still got it on you? Of course, it's one of the strongest reminders I have of my parents. Sadness flickers over her features. I'm quick to reply. Of course, where is it? She motions to a book, resting snugly on the bookshelf next to her bed. Even though it's a little sad to think about how the book serves as a memory of her dead parents, it's endearing that it's so close to her bed. Almost like a guardian that watches her when she sleeps. Man, Mom was right. Really do sound like Yuri. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm glad that I'm helping Yuri and everything, but Sayori! I feel like I'm seriously neglecting Sayori. And not in a... I was about to say not in a good way, but like, what would be a good way of neglecting somebody? Alright, well, hang on, I'll just save it here. There we go. Okay, there we go. I'll end up the episode here. Hope you Romans enjoyed the video. Click the like button if you did. Subscribe to join the Roman army, and I'll see you in the next one. See you later, Romans. Walete.